Greetings, blessings, salutations, and love. Welcome back once again, brothers and sisters, to Chats with Jack. I am Jack Talcott, here to share some Sunday fellowship and some fun. Hopefully, that's for sure. I mean, that's what I hope for, at least. Happy Sunday to all of you who are tuning in the present moment, who may tune in on this day at a later time. Blessings to everyone. Thank you for all who are joining and who may see it later. I've already dropped the link for those who may wish to join. I'm hoping for fun conversations. Today I've got a personal paradigm that I'm trying to work through, to be honest and frank. And blessings, I'm kind of glad to see that some of the notifications must be working, because it was short notice by the time I chose to do a stream today. And part of the reason I chose to do a stream today was because of the imagined benefit for others. I'm hoping to serve. And I realized, sitting alone in my meditation and my thoughts and my prayers, I really don't know how God works, okay? I really don't, and I'm not claiming to. But I know there is a purpose just to our being, particularly when we are in a state of surrender and peace. One of the suggestions I heard elsewhere from John St. Julian was to live in that way, to just completely let go of all thoughts, all desires, and sit in a place of faith and wholeness in the heart, in loving awareness, waiting faithfully for God's inspiration. Now, this guy's practice and spiritual devotion has been it's been different than mine, but I've learned a lot from him. He's done things I have not, in other words. And one of the things I have not done is purified myself completely. Done extended intentional fasting and purposeful, devotion, not like this guy's done, and some of the other people that I've learned of and learned from. Now, I hope to become like many others, but my path, I've never been one to really be able to sit and meditate and just sit for hours and hours at a time. I do, but I don't. I mean, it's it's kind of a paradigm. Maybe it's the normal ego trip, but I'm always wondering, what else could I be doing? I mean, because I trust our purpose to be here on earth at this time as who we are. I trust that our purpose is to be and to become. And we become through what we do, what our experiences, what we accomplish. That's what we become in some ways. But I'm trying to become more than what I used to be in many different ways, and particularly in my own path of understanding of God. So earlier today, I went to church services and received some great inspirations. And now that I think about it, my other choices might have been selfish. I hadn't considered it this way, but it's true. I went and received inspirations at church with the topic of with the question and topic of what burden can you put down? What have you been carrying in your life? What habits have you grown accustomed to? What pains or dissatisfaction have you just said, okay, this is the best it's going to be? I've done that a number of times in a number of different ways. with my weight, with my drinking, with all sorts of silly things. But so I received those inspirations, and if I keep going, I'll come back to this. But in my own practice and wonder, I've been, like I said, I'm ready to quit this nicotine. I'm sick of the giving up and the relapse. So today I'm fasting from it, but that's not entirely true. I'm breaking free of many things, but so anyway, part of my deliberation today was, do I start a fast, and a fast from everything, everything outside of me and God? Do I start that fast today? And then one of the things I was reminded of also today, though, is the life of Marcus Aurelius is where I was learning it from. But living a life without regrets. And that is truly how I want to live. And if God created me to live the way that I want to live a life without regrets. Part of that includes, am I going to regret fasting from the world today? Or am I going to regret not taking the opportunity to open the panel up and maybe share some positivity? You never know. So then I got into my head a little bit, and when I started thinking about my options for starting up today, the thumbnail came through, and it was fun. And then and then there was this one too. Where'd it go? Having some fun today. Thought I'd poke around a little bit. So now I'm wondering, did I really get out of my heart and into my head? Did I get into my devilish mind? Is that what I'm doing here by doing the live stream? Am I following my ego desires? I think I am. But how do you know if you're right or wrong? Man, I don't know. Hey, actually, flow wisdom there. No regrets doesn't mean no wrong decisions. It's a perspective and attitude shift. Hindsight always does bring an opportunity of regrets, though. And I agree. I agree the solution to avoiding regrets is often a perspective and attitude shift. But hey, blessings to you, Nude Guru. Welcome. Welcome to you all. If anyone is available, wishes to join, please feel free. Today, I am who I am. That's who I've chosen to be. I am who I am in each moment. And each moment I to discover what is true. What is true about me? I know what I hope to be. I know what I hope to accomplish. But all I can ever know is that which was. This life we're living, brothers and sisters, there was some amazing conversations I saw on many different streams. Flo had I couldn't stay up. I ended up going to sleep, but I stayed watching for quite a while last night. I think worrying about what your motivation is too much becomes self-defeating. The sincere turns into vain and self-centered. Okay, it can. It absolutely can and does. I'm just trying to figure out how to change my reality, man. I'm trying to change the results, right? The actual external situations, conditions. Hey, thank you. I honestly, this is something I was reminded of too. I think the majority of us we are good and our intentions are typically good. The downside is we're so stinking ignorant and we're so stinking stubborn. I'm talking about you and me, whoever you are. Maybe you're not. Maybe it's only me who's stubborn. I know that's not true. I was reminded of many things today. And so this is my thought. I wonder if here's I'm a storyteller. This is who I am. I'm a philosopher and a storyteller. I've been searching and trying to understand wisdom. I am who God created me to be. I play many different roles. I have seen many versions of me on these panels and through the world, meaning people who have lived an experience, right? They got a testimony to share. They've got a perspective that's come from, you know what, maybe a number of mistakes. All of us do. It's so unique and it's so beautiful what is happening through us all. There's a divine spirit, a glow. I heard that talked about last night was the potentiality of the glow, the spiritual glow of the light of who some of you are. We are. We are the cosmic light of consciousness with the awareness. With the awareness of much and yet so little. All of us individually, we're all so gifted. We've got so much potential within us. It's waiting to come forth. I feel this in myself. I've seen it through my growth. I know what I used to think. I know how small and insignificant I used to believe myself to be. And here's the thing, I know that we are all pretty much the same. Every one of us. Every one of us is the storyteller of our own experience. And the words we speak through our minds, through our voices, through our hearts, those stories we speak, they become real in so many different ways. There was a lot of talk last night and around on some of these YouTube streams. And maybe it's just the way the algorithms have been working for me. I've been seeking more of these types of conversations, or maybe they are growing in numbers, but talk about what is true about God when we move beyond the limits of religions. And then when we can talk about what is true about life, what is true about each of us. That's what makes life a mystery. And I used to think life was not a mystery. I thought all the things have been solved. There was people smarter than me. They'd all figured it out. There's nothing really new for me to learn. Gosh. I confused myself when I was young. I truly confused. I was confused, and maybe I still am. You know, hell, this is the thing. I'm a humble man. Man, as far as I'm concerned, I'm just nothing but an old kid. That's it. I'm still waiting to grow up, so to say. I'm still waiting to know what to do. I've been learning how to give up, honestly, but not in the ways you might think. Are we always acting? Are we always in character? Is it necessary to be? Is it healthy to be? What is it like to not be in any character? Golly geez, Nude Guru, I love what you bring. These are the questions. These are the questions we can each really start asking. Because if I was going to answer this, I would say, yeah, we're always acting. We're always acting like ourselves. Are we always in character? Now, this is a question. Are we presenting a character with intention? You know, a false bravery, a false care. I've done those things, but it's still me. But when we're authentic, man, when we allow the heart to flow, the heart to guide, maybe that's the better idea. But, you know, is it healthy to be? Is it necessary to be? Is it safe to be you? Where you are? With what you've got? If it's not safe to be you, if you don't feel safe to be honest and to be who you are, really go within and ask yourself, why am I where I am? Where would I be? Where would I be loved? Where would I love to be? This is the question. We've got so many reasons in this world. The conditioning, the way many of us were raised, many of us were taught, and it makes sense to do it, to focus on what we don't like. It really does. Makes sense. You don't want to deal with that. You don't want to put up with what you don't like. um, when we focus on what we don't like, what we don't want, especially if it is in our experience what we don't like and don't want, guess what? It creates our suffering. But if we can flip the script, change the story, become the co-creator, become the co-author, become the storyteller of God's creation of you. And if you can tell the story of to you, for you, with love, each day, each moment, if you can allow love to be the author, the one that leads the words and the thoughts and the deeds and the choices, love of what? Love of you? How about love of the experience? The experience of being you. If you can love and focus on what you want, if you can love what you have sincerely, with respect and appreciation and gratitude, everything you've got, especially those ones, the people, if you can love those without getting rid of yourself, without them becoming you, if you can love while you have, with the mindset and will, the determination to be fine without, to be willing, you know, I don't know. I don't want to go too far. The idea, though, is if you can allow yourself the mental exercise, do the comparisons, the intentional comparisons of life with what you have and know, and life without what you have and know. And then consider where your gratitude level is. Where is your level of respect for what and who you have in your life? How do you share respect for what you have, what and who you have in your life? Or is it only about you? We live in a confused world where there's a lot of hurt people thinking they're doing good, thinking they're doing what is right for those around them. And, the people coming to my mind are those citizens of the United States government, maybe even the citizens of the Israeli government. These people think they're doing what is right on the global stage, political, economic, so many different ways. There's a lot of people who think they're doing right. That includes at the local level, maybe even in the families, in the homes. There's a lot of people who think they're doing right, but they're not paying attention. And they're sure as hell not being honest. That's what I see in the news. That's what I see in my past. That's what I see a lot of places. Even in these YouTube realms, there's some amazing people who are not being honest about themselves or what they have seen. And it's remarkable. Truly, truly remarkable. Thank you. I see the numbers have been growing. I appreciate all of you joining in. Thank you. If there's something I missed in the chat, please, someone, I don't know, you can yell at me. If in jaunt to, you can do whatever you want. In this world, that's what's really amazing. I never stopped to consider the facts. Okay, there's considering facts. Okay, there's the awareness and knowledge. Okay, these facts exist. And then there's the understanding, the understanding. Okay, what do those facts mean? And what do those facts mean to me? And I'll give you an example. One of the facts each day, we get to choose and do what we want. That's a pretty big opportunity. That's a pretty big responsibility. Having the ability to do whatever you want on any given day, to choose to do whatever you want from the options you create and the world allows. I was reviewing that, my comfort, my security. Thank God I created some safety nets along the way, right? Made some investments in my retirement savings and in property. Thank God I did some intelligent and wise things in my past. It allowed me the ability to experience some real insecurities, some real uncertainties for quite a while. And so there's been a lot of assumptions and stories told about me. I look forward to seeing what is really true. What is God really going to do with someone like us? What is, I love this, the Bible professes of a great falling away. I wonder what that looks like. I proclaim, no, I don't proclaim anything. I proffer. I don't know which is right. I proffer. A great falling away looks like the world of today. And all times repeat. until they're changed. I think the great falling away is right now, sincerely. There's like a flood. It's not a flood of water that humanity is dealing with right now. It is a flood of lies and knowledge. It's a flood of knowledge. That's what humanity, I believe, is experiencing, at least in my own life and the lives of those who I've met. And only compared to times of the past that I've learned about from the society that created us. So, but I think we are experiencing at this time a flood of knowledge. Knowledge brings power, okay? And with power comes responsibility. Greater opportunities arise when you know more, when you know of more options, different alternatives. That's why right now is a great divide, I believe. So it all comes down to this fact again, though. Each day, each moment, break it down, man. We got a lifetime. Part of it is to be entertained and to play. Part of the time is to work. Part of the time is to learn. All of the time is to love. If we're going to live, the essence of life is to love. Nature is my boundaries, not the sandbox of man. Nature. Is it? My wonder is, are there boundaries to nature? Is there limits to what it might grow into? I don't know. And I agree, nature is our boundary. We are not living naturally. We are not living naturally. Collectively, I know there's exceptions, and I know there's for every truth there is an untrue, but it doesn't negate what is real. And what is real is what is real is. That's correct. What is real is. So it also says in Amos chapter 8 that the famine of the end days is not for food, but for the hearing of God's word. There's a listening to God's word, and there is a hearing of God's word. And I believe God's word is beyond language. God's word is the spirit of truth. And the truth, man, that is what moves us. But in this world where we don't have time, I don't have time to listen to that. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to listen to that. There's a denial of hearing God's word. And so what if God's word is the truth that is revealed in the moment? And that means you are a messenger of God's word, God's truth. When you speak truthfully, that which is within you, especially when you speak truthfully with love and compassion and gratitude for the opportunity to serve and to share, man, that shit just feels right. But the hearing of God's word, the receiving of good news, our shame and our regret is what tarnishes, by our own choices, tarnishes our self-worth. And when we diminish our own self-worth with our belief of shame and regret, a lack of forgiveness, a lack of gratitude, when we live our lives with those lacks, we're lying to ourselves. Okay? Because whoever you are listening today, and I'm reminding myself, I'm listening to me. I'm paying attention, making sure I'm not lying to you. But whoever you are listening today or later, you are worth. You are worth it. You are worthy. The breath within you, it's the same breath that breathes me. We are together individually, we are part of today's history. And so if you can lay down your head at night on a pillow with a roof over your head, be grateful. Be grateful and proud of the choices you've made that have led you to where you are today. Be grateful and proud that God has allowed you to make it through another day. And then hopefully you can reflect on today, looking back at the things you did, the experiences you shared with others, the experiences you shared with yourself today, because you get to choose. You get to do whatever you want every day. So if you can lay your head down tonight with some gratitude, humility, we all make mistakes, but maybe reframing what the day brought forth, reframing it in a different way with a plan, a game plan, an idea for tomorrow. All right, today this didn't work, or today I learned this while I did this, or man, I learned this about that person, my prayers. What can I offer? I don't know. At the end of the day, do a little reflection and allow the reflection not to weigh you down, but to raise you up. Use your thoughts to raise your energy, your level of gratitude, your level of happiness. Take control of you. This is what I started to do. And it seems scary. When you speak it through, it's absolutely illogical, but it's true. Those fears are real. When we start allowing ourselves to change, holy shit, those feelings. It's nothing to laugh at when you're going through it. But man, the fear of getting sober, changing who I was, and then just the other stuff I faced, man. I remember the fears of the past. They're real. Maybe you got some fears today. Maybe you've got some anxiety for your own future. You've learned of some unsettling news for the future. You know, you thought you were going this way in the future, and all of a sudden, nope, this is where you're going. Changing family, changing job, changing health. Life brings us change, and if you're fixed in your ways, thinking you've got it all figured out, well, maybe you do. Maybe you do, and maybe your life will be perfectly, and you'll never have another headache, another problem, maybe never another worry in your future. Why am I stumbling on those words? Because I know the likelihood is probably not very realistically. I prefer to just speak the truth. This is what I've been learning. If we can allow ourselves to be present, whole and complete, it feels good. And then from a place of feeling good and being present with, clarity of the past. Hindsight brings 2020, so they say. It certainly, hindsight and time certainly brings us a different perspective. But if you can find time each day practicing, growing your level of being present in the moment, being whole, being complete, being compassionate and caring with those who the world brings through your day. I think if each of us start trying to do this stuff, life will get a lot easier for everybody. Won't be everyone so worried about the future or tripping up about the past. Everyone afraid, looking over their shoulder. I wonder if they're going to get me this week. I remember kind of living that way, but a lot of that was my own manufactured anxiety, man. I was just looking for reasons and excuses to be afraid, because being afraid is what I knew. Sorry, opening a spiced apple sparkling water. We are so blessed. I feel it. You go to this grocery store, and while many of the products, I encourage you stay the hell away from them. But even in the natural stores, man, there are so many cool products that people are coming up with. There's so many different foods and particularly fruits I've discovered from around the world. Praise God. Can you believe that we get to live? Like we do. It's not perfect. I know. Life's not perfect and it's tough and you got to do a lot of things. But man, what a trip. What an adventure. What an experience life really is. This is what I learned, and it took me a lifetime. Our children were not taught this where I grew up. Okay? Let's change the way that things are so other children don't grow up believing that their thoughts they think are real. Because what is real is the present. The present is the only place where all exists and all potential is. I love this new guru. The present is reality. Can you fall in love with reality? Can you convince yourself to fall in love with that which is real? I swear to God, that's kind of what I did. I fell in love with learning about that which is real. That's what took me down the path of learning all the sciences I could. And I didn't go into details. I wasn't trying to pass a test or get anybody's approval. I was learning about the stuff I wanted to learn. And when I started getting the idea of consciousness, actually, see, again, there's a fact. I knew consciousness existed, and I knew that to be awake was to be conscious. And I knew that there was a subconscious to us. I knew exterior facts about the idea. And then along the way, I guess I convinced myself that there were experts, doctors and psychologists, you had to have an education in order to understand. I convinced myself of that stupidity and then realized that's not true. That's just the society's belief. That's not what I believe. I know for a fact I can learn anything given enough time. And if I've got the ability to ask questions, interact with whatever I'm trying to learn, I can learn anything. And I bet you are probably the same way, unless you've convinced yourself of otherwise. Maybe there's exceptions. I only know me. When I started getting into the idea of consciousness, I stumbled across Julian Jaynes, I think is his name. author of The Bicameral Mind and the Evolution of Consciousness. And I thought, God, that is a fascinating subject. And he did a great job, in my mind, of demonstrating a lot of possible evolutions to the growth of our mind. Now, I've heard a lot of theories contrary to what he proposed since then, but I don't necessarily negate what he presented. Anyway, when I started discovering some of the things that are available for all of us to learn about our minds, I became truly fascinated. There's another guy. I'm trying to remember his face is in my mind. His name is on the tip of my tongue. John Arafas, something like that. He's one of those motivational guys. He was one of the first I actually discovered. He put on a weekend presentation about neurosciences, some of the concepts from Neville Goddard, in addition to some of the newer discoveries we've been talking about on some of these panels from Joe Dispenza, the Heart Math Institute. There's power. They're brothers and sisters. We are electromagnetic forces of nature expressed through our chemical and biological forms. We express so much information through our energies. And I mean, like, there's auric fields there's ethereal fields, meaning fields of energy beyond the actual material, measurable and identifiable around each of us. So they say. And here's a man who's going to really push back, I pray. He does a great job with that. The one and only Mr. Flow State. How are you today, my brother?
And the crowd goes wild.
Hey,
I saw
man.
Lindsay say this is relaxing, and so I was like, well, that's bullshit.
I saw that too. And yeah, you know.
But no, I have nothing to push back on yet that I know of. I was listening earlier and actually was kind of interested in, but then I had something to do, and now I'm back. So
good for you. How's your day been going, man?
Lazy.
Good. That's right. It's Sunday. You take
Yeah.
a day off?
Yeah, I didn't do much. Slept till about 1, and then, I streamed pretty damn late.
That's what I was wondering. How late did you guys end up going?
3:34 maybe. I don't remember for sure, but it was a long one. But it was also it wasn't that last night's stream was so long, but it was tiring. It was like just a lot, it's religion. So.
Yes, and yes, and yes. Here, welcome the tribe. Am I hateful and disruptive? Distrustful. Am I a hateful and distrustful bigot? Are you sure?
Look at that smile.
I know. Look at the smile. And he seems to be smiling too.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, I just wanted, his legal team hasn't contacted me yet.
Nor me, but my tribe emoji is probably the biggest hit of all of them. I get a lot of people using the piss emoji and then the tribe emoji.
Yes. Yeah, it is interesting. Hey, tribe, you know what? It's in fun. And you are an interesting piece of art. I see
it's
his
interesting
smiling
that
face.
he chose. I mean, if I could think of one word to describe tribe besides boring, it would be hateful. So it's interesting that that's what he Shows the level of you. Definitely boring would be number one.
It's a hater bush that's being painted. Oh my goodness. Hey, tribe, you are welcome to join the panel, but your bitterness, man, that's on you.
Bring that salty vagina up here.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. This is where I went though in my meditation. I was at the point of surrender and asking God, okay, where is my inspiration? I'm going to just be until inspired. And then I thought about, okay, well, what would bring me inspiration? What is my goal? My goal is to serve others. I can't really serve others if I'm just hermited in my home, staying away from everybody. But then that idea of service got me into my head and thinking, hey, why not just poke fun as well? We'll just bring some entertainment today. So
It's serving me well.
I don't know. I'm glad you're here. I don't really have a point of this one. Kind of just going to go with the flow, but it's a happy little tree.
It's the happiest I've ever seen, tribe, and the most interesting.
Tribe berries probably taste bitter. I can imagine. Oh my gosh. Hey, that's one thing though I was reminded of by one of the creators. We are just people. Planet Earth has peopled people. Just like forests do trees and mountains do mountains. People were created and we're just part of it all. What screws us up is when we get in each other's way, when we get in our own way.
I think the overthinking gets in our own way.
Overthinking or underthinking?
Overthinking.
When not done properly, I agree. But at the same time, this is one of those paradigms or paradoxes. The best way is without thought, but the best way to conserve energy and avoid mistakes is to think things through properly.
Right. I agree. I agree. I don't normally think things through nearly as well as I could. So I'm sort of arguing to my own weakness. But I think for most people, they think to unproductive ends. That is,
yes.
What's the purpose of all this gear grinding? Is there actually a reason, or is it just mental masturbation?
Yes. Mental masturbation would include spending time in repeating arguments, repeating insults to ourselves and put downs. It's an addiction. I've been there, and it's an insanity. What's that?
Or trying to. So I'm jumping back to like the beginning of the stream when you were talking about trying to figure out if you were like questioning your own motivations, right?
Yes.
I don't think that you can ever have an objective perspective on that when you're reflecting on yourself. I also don't think that in that motivation can come apart that cleanly. You see what I'm saying? Like it's a little bit there's going to be some of everything. I don't think, for instance, nothing is purely altruistic. I believe, because if I help you, it's gonna help me.
Correct.
And so then trying to pick apart something that actually doesn't come apart that way is more like like a twitch or a impulse than a.
Yes, I can see what you're saying. There's a lot of variables involved, and sometimes trying to break it down, it's a pointless adventure, right? And I think I see what you're saying. Hey, we've got another guest here. Hasn't been here for a while, so
Tribe?
See, no.
Ah,
Welcome, Unslave Paul.
Greetings, Mr.
Greetings.
Talcott. No round of applause for me? You got to have a round of applause sound effect back there.
I don't actually. You didn't set me up with that.
Well, you took my keys. I mean, regardless of whatever, awkward, uncomfortable sort of boundary we have or gap in communication, you know that I'm always kind of available when I'm available to serve the cause, right, of broadcasting, if nothing else.
That is true. I didn't think to ask. But you're right. Applause would have been appropriate. Welcome to you, my brother.
How are you?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling fun today, honestly. Just chilling out and allowing whatever it is to be. How about yourself? You still going?
Yeah. I noticed that we were overlapping, so I figured it's been a while,
It has
figured
been.
I'd, stop in and I guess pay it forward in my own bizarre way.
Well, regardless, whatever drew you, I'm glad you're here. Because who knows what the future's going to bring. And regardless, we've been a part of the past.
It just occurred to you that thing you call the past is exactly where the future is going times like 5.
No. No. I clearly. Well, I can't say no because I can't predict the future. However, I know for a fact every day I get up, my only purpose is to change the patterns of the past. That is it. And that makes life very easy.
I can agree with that. If we can focus on the self, not in an egoic, narcissistic way, as some of us get the rap for, mainly me, I think then there becomes fewer and fewer problems that we're burdened by because all we are accountable, responsible for is ourselves, changing who and what we are in the past, patterns and loops, to get different results. The rest of it is not in our hands individually.
I agree with that.
True. Here, while you were saying that, though, I was admittedly partially distracted. I was trying to find relevance and a way to bring this in smoothly, but I couldn't find it. The assumption I intend to cause humiliation and harm due to repeated actions on record. I don't know who I'm humiliating or harming besides me. I mean, so what are you threatening, dude?
I mean, is it possible at all that he's doing some elaborate, drawn out bit non-bit just to trigger you into a conflict when, I mean, yeah, I just don't see the connection there. Talcott doesn't seem to be actively malicious toward you, really anybody. I mean, he's been actively malicious toward me, but I don't hold him at fault because it's a product of his impulses and compulsions. It's not necessarily his orientation. It would seem. I want to believe that, right?
Please, I hope to prove that true because I don't have malicious intentions towards anyone.
I think this is the least humiliating presentation of Tribe I may have ever seen.
You mean his absence from the panel?
Well, he's just not. He's not saying anything, so he's not humiliating himself.
I agree. It is. I don't know, man. Paul, there's been a number of interesting characters in our experience.
I guess that was the point, huh? I mean, if you didn't come on here and somewhat expect a bunch of interesting characters to show up, you might be the biggest fool of all. I take that account for myself, at least at this point.
Good. Yes. I was not prepared for it. I'll be honest.
Oh, I didn't say I was prepared for it. I just said one should expect it. I mean, have you looked around lately?
Dude, I did not. I did not. I did not see how common the craziness is. I really did not. I came.
Now, you did the whole last 3 years thing, right? I don't want to get too explicit, but you were there for that.
But I assumed that was because people weren't talking to each other, but that was obviously dumb, obviously ignorant assumption. I don't know.
Yeah, people were talking to each other. They just weren't saying anything of meaning, and nobody was listening on the other end.
Well, that's what I thought we could change.
And here we are. Welcome. It's like an NAAA. I know what you thought, but here we are. Welcome. Have a seat. There's coffee. It's 2 days old, but it'll do.
That's the good stuff. Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because Tribe, I think it was Tribe, said that in one of the comments, that it's like a dry drunk preaching to AANA rejects on my family.
I mean,
you're not going to get any argument from me again.
There.
You know, I can't argue, and I got to give it up. That's pretty funny.
When he's right, he's right.
Yeah, I mean, again, it goes back to kind of what we were talking about yesterday, and I guess I'll use the proper moniker to show grace. Mr. Flow State was giving some of his advice he's known for, him being a ladies' man and all. Just white knuckle it, right? And a lot of us, I think, at certain times, especially with certain things, we get into the white knuckle phase where we're not actualizing and realizing, we're just trying to keep things the way that we think they're functional, right? So,
well, I mean, must not have laid the sarcasm on thick enough. That was sarcastic advice.
Oh, okay.
I said repress it, and repress has sort of a negative connotation. But
I see. So you were pretty much, being devil's advocate, as you're known for.
Yeah.
More so than being the ladies' man, which, I can appreciate.
Well, there was no ladies on that panel to.
Technically, biologically.
I mean, Mitch was there.
He could fill in a pinch, I'm sure. That wasn't anyway. Well, if what you were saying, sometimes you got to push through the discomfort. Some of our imagined unease. If that's what you were talking about, I agree. That's what I've been learning for myself, is pushing into discomfort, things that I was kind of afraid of, or maybe wouldn't have done in the past. Talking to people, going online, doing many different things. It actually gets easier. And all we're doing, when we step out of our comfort zone into places where we expand and grow from, we're just expanding our comfort. Growing into being comfortable in more places.
I don't know if there's a comfortable option in that discussion.
All right. Yeah, I was speaking a lot of generalities. Here's a guy who brings hopefully some peace today. Every day could be something different. So,
snafu.
Welcome.
Oh no, snafu! I swear it's not what it looks like. I can explain. There's totally no cupcaking going on over here, right? Like you just got caught with you got caught with your side piece.
Yeah,
Drew is always watching.
I just had to join Mr. Paul Enslaved, host state who got wrecked by EBT and TVE and Snowball Walnuts. How do you feel about Mr. Close getting wrecked by TBE and EBT?
Did you see my video today, Snaps?
The only problem was nobody was
I know you
watching, so
saw it.
nobody's aware of it except you.
Yeah, Talcott, just so you know,
Even I
go
didn't
check
watch
it out.
and I've
Ostate got
heard about
wrecked
it.
like the little bitch he is. His head will be bobbling like all fucked up. I'm wrecked.
It's still, yeah. I don't know.
You're wrecked,
I haven't
bro.
watched most of it.
This
I watched
is the
about
thing
an
that
hour
you
of it.
haven't-
Desperate. Hey, I thought you were desperate.
This is your
Talcott.
failing,
Ostate's
Snaps.
worse
Who
than you.
snaps? This is your failing once again because you failed to discern that Mr. Hostate, as you call him, is in fact shameless. So your greatest attempts to try to make him guilty and ashamed are really
Yeah,
only causing your
We
undoing.
could talk about my video today, though. I know you watched it, Snafu. I said, "What's up to
I
the
haven't
crew?"
watched
and the
your
instant
shit,
premiere.
bro. Honestly, so I don't give a fuck about you.
You watch
Hey,
everybody
Snowball.
constantly.
No, I
crew
really
is
don't.
always out
I
there.
haven't watched it for real. I put on everything. Snowball. What I was gonna tell you? Hey, no, for real, Snowball. Get this, man. He got wrecked.
Okay.
Snaps. I want you to watch the video I released.
Why do I want to watch your video?
Well, I mean, do you care about what you about?
No,
what you
I
say,
don't really
people?
care about anything you say. I thought
it's
you
about
were
what
bad,
you
Jack,
say.
desperate for
It's
YouTube
relevant to
shit.
you.
This motherfucker be pushing the P. Pushing the P.
But Snafu, some seriously, do you care about what you say?
He watched
No.
it.
Why don't you care about what you say?
Why do you care what I say?
I seek to know the truth.
If
And
I
if
don't
you're
care what
not-
I say, why do you care what I say? But what
Well,
do I say that you say?
Snafu, seriously.
That's a hell of a logic right there.
Snafu, if you don't care about what you say, then I can't come to you for truth. You're just like an irrelevant.
You don't come to me for truth. I asked.
know.
Hey,
I
let's
know.
be transparent. Then.
I'd like to.
I asked you and Cynthia
but
if
you
your
don't-
channels received a hit recently. You and Cynthia told me nope. Lumitardi fucking realized what's up. I sent Paul some receipts, transparency. You and Cynthia are obviously lying because if you look at the dates of the receipts I have, you and Cynthia are the only ones under those dates. Ask
What
Polly
are you
Boy about it.
saying? Did you have one of my videos removed or something?
Don't worry what I did. It's my truth.
I care about.
Just
my
to be
truth,
clear,
you don't
just
care
to be
what I have
clear,
to
he
say.
did send me at 2 a.m. what appeared to be a screenshot of him striking apparently like 5 to 8 different channels for
Nazi
bullying,
cop. And
harassment,
it doesn't matter if I'm on your
misinformation.
channel or not. It's gonna teach you from being
Confirm or
Nazi
deny
on
that
us.
evidence.
You be not. It doesn't matter if I watch you or not, or in your chat or not. The crew, you can be Nazi. The crew is the glue.
There is no crew. The crew is up here.
Hey, Flow State,
Does the
EBT
crew
and
go
TB
away if
wrecked
you
you,
take
bro.
lithium?
You got wrecked. Until you can clear your wreckage, you're fucking wrecked. Jack,
He
you gotta
needs
go
to be
watch him get
salvaged.
wrecked.
I'm okay.
TBE,
I'm
and they
still
did it even
together.
Trump. They wrecked his ass.
I didn't see any wreckage in the first hour.
You are
I asked
desperate. You're
I
worse
asked
than
Toilet
I thought
Bowl Earth
Jack was
last night
desperate
if he
for
wrecked
YouTube,
me. He
dude.
said he didn't wreck me.
You are a
All right,
desperate melon.
Snafu,
Your
recenter,
cow
because
fucks
you
under you.
already you
Your
should
new
already
cow
be able to
fucks under
see.
you.
You should already be able to see and feel where this is going. So try to recenter, right? Can we at least get remember what we talked about yesterday? How you have all this discernment? Just go directly at it and go low level. Like ask Flow State if he thinks that Monograph is creepy. Right?
And
we can start there.
I'd like to
Well,
welcome
that's not a relevant question.
as well. So welcome, my friend Cynthia.
Hey, the
Friend
Pfizer advocate, Cynthia, what's going on?
Dylan, you look
how's
nice.
round
I
3,
see
4,
your
5 of
beard
your
growing out.
vaccination going?
How are you doing, Snaps? You're looking good. I heard you say my name,
I'm
so I can't popped up.
Where is Snaps? He's out in public somewhere, probably chasing people off.
Doing a
Hey,
fabulous
Snaps,
job.
go pick up a woman. Go pick up a woman, Snaps. Show us how it's
Oh
done.
yeah, we were gonna have that
Flo
competition.
State's here. Go show us how it's done right now.
All right, come on, Flo, let's do it right now. You and me, right now. Step out
I'm
the door. I'll
I'm
do it right
sitting
this
in my
second. I'll step out of my
house.
car. I'll go walk over here behind me. I'll go fucking do what
Where
I
are
do.
you?
Let's do it, Flo. Step out the door.
Let's do
I'll
it.
take your
I wanna
challenge on.
see
Well, let's go.
It'll
Flo.
take me. It'll take me
Come on, right now. You and me
30
right
minutes
now.
to
Let's
get to the
go.
nearest mall.
Hey, why don't we get snowballing and on it too?
No,
You can go first.
it.
I'll follow.
Nah, see, you coward,
Or
dude.
we can do it a different day.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
told you that offer stands. I can't back out on it now.
Let's go.
Well,
Right now, step out your door. Let's see who can pull some more
I'm
numbers.
not going to
Let's
do
go,
it right
Flo.
now.
Snafu.
I'm not going out the
Flo,
door
come
right
on.
now.
Let's
Right.
put you out for your test kids.
You're
Mr. P.
deflecting.
Oh my gosh.
I can't believe he didn't bring peace.
I love your sarcasm, man. Yes,
And he definitely saw my video.
possibly,
100%.
probably, yes. At least had to seen the topic. Well, maybe not. Maybe he was legitimately
He saw it,
busy
yeah.
today, and found
He's never
something else.
been busy once before ever.
His mind is limited. He could be
That's
looping
true.
on something else entirely. Right? And that's what is it?
Sterling, right? He would, if we all took a break from those channels, it wouldn't matter because we were all permanently on break from those channels when we heard about Monograph. Nobody ever heard about any of these things until he brought them up.
Oh, this was something I wanted to ask. Yes, Snafu. Seriously, I want to have a conversation with you, okay? Because I want to. Are you there? I want you to consider, brother. I was thinking about what Flo said, and it's true. Some of us had never heard of some of these people you're talking about.
Dude, you
So
already
instead of
fucked
talking
up,
about-
dude. You fucked up when you said I was thinking of what.
So, Snafu, what I'd like you to consider is, who do you like? What if you ran around promoting things you like? And I'm not talking about only Snafu and the Snafu crew. I'm talking about beyond you.
Sure.
Who do
I'll
you
get
like?
a shirt. Pimp Unslaved. Unslavia YouTube. Go check
How
them
long
out.
will this last for?
You know who
Until
else?
he
LCJC
finds an
family.
excuse.
You know who else?
Who have you
All
liked
kinds of people.
consistently? Who
Not-
have you liked?
Yeah.
What? I'm trying to fucking promote someone and talk about
No,
someone you fucking
You're
optics
glitching.
of distracting that. Do you see what he's doing, Talcott? I was trying to say
No.
Pimp Unslaved
oh,
is
stop trying to play a
YouTuber
game.
out there. Have you
Pimp
ever heard of him?
Unslaved. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
he's a YouTuber out there, not
Yep.
Snafu create, separate, own person,
Yep.
doing his own thing. Rock. Have you heard?
Who
Have
did
you
he
guys
say?
heard of that guy?
Who?
Yeah.
Paul, Pimp Unslaved,
Yeah.
the real
Yep.
Pimp, not the little beta boy next to you. Well, he's not on Snafu crew. I think he rocks that here.
Snafu, your audio sucks. You're roboting and
The
coming in.
demon got him again.
Yeah, the demons have your technology or your mind.
Your soul.
I don't.
I'm the
I
one who's a
hope
demon.
not so. Huh? All right. Holy cows, man.
Praise God.
Well, what do we do? What do we do with what the world brings us when it is kind of entertaining, but it's kind of frustrating as well?
We let it be entertaining as long as we're entertained, and then we drop it back outside where we found it.
Agreed. Actually, that was kind of the other thing I was reminded at church today was the dust your feet off if they don't want to listen. Keep moving. Don't allow it to slow down your own progress, your own path.
It's part of their free will. Everyone's got free will to take it or leave it, and that's definitely not worth exchanging, right?
Amen. I don't know. I just keep wondering, what if things were different? What if, what could happen if things were a little bit different? Where we didn't have this chaos interrupting and distracting.
But what's the point? That would be one of those things I'd consider mental masturbation because things aren't different. So is there a reason to wonder that?
Because things always change. And so
Sure.
if we predict a change and we, if we can get clarity on the change we want, on what we might want to be different. Maybe that's the question I'm trying to figure out for myself is, hey,
The problem obviously becomes, Jack, that the presumption with the ego that we like to speak about from the first person view is that there always has to be a change from the other.
not always. I recognize that. Most times it's been myself. Well, obviously we can only change ourselves, but sometimes it is others, damn it. Sometimes they are the ones who have to change, or we have to change our time and energy. We got to walk away.
Or the way that, you've seen lately, as the man says, who knows how long it'll last, but I've kind of adjusted my way of handling Snafu Creature, to kind of, I guess, allow him to do what he does, bring whatever value, entertainment or otherwise, and then kind of reflect on what he's saying beyond the, muddled presentment, right? Because there's a good chance, again, looking at it, he's not exactly wrong. It would seem there's something there, it would seem to me, but maybe that's my projection that I'm bonding with him about. When he talks about Monograph, I don't understand how he doesn't see he's promoting him indirectly. But if he, wants to say the guy's creepy and looks like he has self issues, well, I mean, then we can go around the room and raise your hand if you're not perceived at times as creepy or having self issues. I mean, there's layers to this, right?
Amen. And so then it comes back to, and I've been trying to understand, what is the intention? I mean, if the intention is to out of fear and to warn others, well, come on now. We got enough damn fear in this world, and I think there's greater problems than people who are weird, who we find weird.
Yeah, I don't think we're considering the analysis here ever as well, that there's a good chance that Snafu Creature with his background, may have been sexually abused. So it may be a strong point of contention for him, a strong basis for fear that, may lead to a certain level of discernment, but then he projects and expands upon, and it does him a disservice. So, we kind of have to look beyond the presentment into the human being and figure out, what is leading the being to present that way. He comes from a broken home. He is institutionalized. He's done years in prison. There's, I'm sure, a drug history there. This shit all goes back to square one, no?
I think it's safe to assume, for me at least, that he's not interested in truth, nor is
And
he
with a
interested in
mouth like
protecting anyone.
his, it got filled a lot in prison, so that's got to be traumatizing.
You could assume, but you do not know.
Yeah, I mean, flow state, why would you project that he's not at all interested in truth?
Why would you project that I'm projecting?
Because it's something that I see in your pattern of behavior that I don't necessarily see with him. He seems to be very interested in truth, just unable to communicate his truth or the truth in a
If he was interested in
way.
truth, he would watch the video, or he would acknowledge the video that he watched. The fact of the matter is that you can follow any lead down that he throws out, and they don't go anywhere.
That doesn't mean he's not interested in truth. It may mean that he's dysfunctional or distorted in his perspective. It doesn't mean he's not intentioned well.
He is impervious to information that goes against his pre-existing narrative.
And I would say the same thing about you. I've observed it directly.
That's fine.
Well, and what you said, Flo, would go with what Paul's saying about, a mental confusion and an unhealth within. We kind of talked on this subject too earlier. There's so many variables involved in what moves people the way that we move, and we don't know. And oftentimes the individual often doesn't know what's moving them from the past. In this world, it is not mindful. It is not attentive or caring. It's very possible there's people who are on here who came from very troubled pasts, and this is a way they've learned to adapt, and the world allows trouble. It does.
You say it's possible. I contend we're all here because of the same reason. I contend this is a source of attractor for all of us because we're completing within ourselves from incompletions in the past, and all of it's a mirror and reflection.
So if he's actually trying to do what he says he's trying to do, that would necessarily mean that he's insane.
Praise
I mean,
God.
if you're not projecting subconsciously your intentions, positive or negative,
I'm not projecting subconsciously.
Just let me finish what I'm saying. I don't need a defense.
You're already
I'm
starting
giving a
off in the wrong
supposition.
direction.
Why are you getting defensive? It's
Because
an if-then statement. I didn't even finish the if-then statement. I was giving you the leeway for the credit.
Let's play the game. All right, go ahead.
There's no game. That's the thing. You're now projecting again your inauthenticity and belief that there's a game going on here. I'm speaking genuinely with you. Are you capable or not?
You haven't spoke genuinely ever in your life.
There you go. You just projected again that I'm never a genuine person ever in my life. How many more projections are you going to do here today on all of us from what you are?
We don't have to argue. Please.
So the if-then statement was, if you're not projecting from a dysfunctional space, then you're drastically underestimating or not giving credit to the dysfunction or stupidity of others.
So that's exactly where I was going with that.
Thank you. So instead of you getting defensive and uppity, we might bond here today. Don't be so scared of it, slow state. You'll be okay.
We're not going to bond. We're not going to bond.
I know, because you're going to set an intention to not bond with me and play games.
Because you're neurotic.
No, we can get along. We can get along.
So
what were you going to
be genuine for us to bond? Because that's all I do, and you never do that.
That's all you do. Okay.
Please.
So what I was going to say is, if insanity is the definition of same thing is defined by doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting different results, then that would mean Snafu is insane if he believes what he says he does. Do you agree, Paul?
I'll agree, and then I will turn the mirror back on every other participant in the simulation and say, do you not engage in the same activity?
How so?
You chain smoke Marlboro Lights every night, expecting it to lead to anything other than cancer, suffering, and death.
You chain smoke joints.
I didn't tell you about you versus me and competing. See, you're not good with accountability and being genuine and honest about how we're all in the simulation and embody the same self-quality.
That anybody's accountable to you for anything.
I didn't say that you had to be accountable to me, to yourself, and to folks who extend off of you. That's clear.
So what's your what concern is that of yours?
I didn't say it was a concern. The statement was try to keep up. If we're going to do an analysis of self, you have to do the same analysis on self, because we're all on self and we're all engaged in the same nonsense.
If you want to do a self-analysis, we can talk about you. We can attack you.
Right. You wouldn't dare do a self-analysis in public. That's the non-genuineness. That's my point.
No,
you're not doing self-analysis.
You're not capable, nor would you, because you're not willing. You're a coward. I'm not. I can self-analyze.
You're not a coward.
In public, and we'll do it again.
All right, let's do a self-analysis, Paul, you brave motherfucker. Why does it bother you when other people make money?
You presume that I'm bothered that you're making money.
You are bothered. You bitch about it.
Are you going to let me answer, or are you going to put forth a narrative and make it true without me answering? You're projecting again.
Let's focus on allowing each other in the discussion, please. Okay? I think there was a question and Paul was answering regarding the conclusion that Paul gets upset when others earn. Is that that's what I understood?
That's what I asked. Yes. Why does that bother you, Paul?
Right. You're projecting a presumption that I'm upset because you're making $40 a month in $1 memberships. Right. You presume that I'm upset or mad about that, not trying to reveal a deeper truth here, that you're clutching for something you're never going to get on the levels that you desire because you're not in alignment with that truth.
That didn't really answer my question. It just made an accusation.
Again, you're presuming that I'm angry and mad that other people are getting whatever value they're getting in their life, and I'm not.
Correct.
I don't believe that. You're definitely
Well, there you go. So you now projected again that I'm being dishonest willfully. So we can't have a conversation because everything I say, you will project your intentions onto me and not accept my answer and the new information.
So I
As
asked
you
you
critiqued
a
about
question,
snafu
and you
earlier,
didn't
just as I
answer the
said, I've
question.
observed from you many times, you've now shown it again.
You're too cowardly to self-reflect like you said you would. I asked you a question,
okay. I'm going to
and you tried to
disengage
tell
with
me
you
about
because
me.
I don't believe it's possible to have a productive conversation with you, or a genuine conversation, or a functional,
shit,
healthy
neither do I.
conversation.
We've never had one of those, I don't think. Actually, we have, but they're rare.
Flo, please, I want to offer, let's come into the moment, please, because you're both saying similar things.
Well, I asked him a question, and he responded with an accusation.
I understand. And particularly about each other and the ability for you each to communicate. I know you can. Okay. But if you're both going to be of the belief that you cannot, and then it won't. And here's what I know. All of us have greater opportunities for self-reflection, for improvement. And Paul, I do encourage you and Flo to listen to each other. You're both intelligent. You're both very intuitive.
You presume that I didn't initiate contact with him privately, and as he says, have genuine conversation.
You have
He's
me
not
blocked,
capable,
Paul.
it seems. Why are you talking over me again?
Well, Paul, you present the narrative with blame, and you do make communication not the easiest.
I just presented narratives with blame. I thought that's what he was doing.
I asked a question.
Your question presumed a blame and culpability that when I denied, you said you don't believe me and stuck to the narrative. So who's blaming exactly?
Well, you can hear it in your tone of voice that you're.
So now you can hear it in my tone of voice. Okay,
Yeah.
so Flow State, the energetic empath reader, has now determined for all of us
all you
what
need to
my
have is a
true intention is based on the tone of my voice. That's great stuff. Slow State.
Can we get less adversarial? We're not in competition with.
Can we get more real
We're
with
not
ourselves and each other, or just cease conversation if that's what's necessary? Because, I mean, it's embarrassing at this point.
Hi, Lindsay. Good to see you.
You know what? Yes, please, ladies, you've been very patient, and any topic, any direction you'd like to go, please, let's turn it over for a moment.
Go ahead, Cynthia.
I was going to say, Flo, congratulations on your show last night. I love the new vibe.
Thank you.
I'm glad to see that you made money. I'm glad to see that you're utilizing the platform as it's meant to be as a business.
It was a good night.
It was a great night.
And Lindsay, how's your day today?
My day was pretty boring. I don't really want to get into my day because it's not interesting. But what I was interested in between Paul and Flo. Oh God, I'm always afraid I'm going to get in trouble for what I'm saying. They're each claiming that each other is too vulnerable to self-reflect and to be put on the spot on the panel, but neither one of them have, right?
Have what?
Have been put on the spot and been made to feel vulnerable on the panel. Have actually let each other kind of. He started, I guess, Paul. He started with saying what he thinks about you and attacking you with this or that. But you changed the topic and put it on him. And he said you're a coward to self-reflect. And I wonder if that was true.
It may be, but the pivot was an attack because we were talking about snafu. We weren't talking about Paul. We weren't talking about Taylor.
But that's the point, is we're always talking about other people and not Taylor. That's the constant theme with you on every panel.
No, you talk about Taylor all the time.
And that is a bit of a projection.
Right, and I'm willing to speak directly to Taylor's face about myself and him. It doesn't seem Taylor is willing to do the same.
Well, what do you want to talk about that is, how do I phrase it?
All of your presumptions and assumptions, we can start there.
Given that we're not friends, maybe the best way to talk about us would be to not do it in an accusatory way. Do you agree?
Okay.
So maybe we should talk in a different way.
Right.
Beautiful.
So Again, I mean, I don't really have these issues. You seem to have these issues with me. So like the thing with Leslie, you know, I lied about that. You know, according to you on your panels and everywhere else, the report I get is I'm lying about everything.
So do you want to try it again?
Oh, stay out.
Try what exactly again? Addressing how you keep calling me a liar publicly about every one of my experiences that are documented?
Well, Paul, obviously I think that you're a liar, but I'm open to being wrong.
Okay, so how could we have a genuine, open, vulnerable conversation with someone who claims that I'm lying constantly?
Well, we could start by just having neutral interactions with each other.
Where you don't presume that I'm lying constantly, you mean?
Where I don't at least call it out.
Well, that's being disingenuous. See, I don't even think you know how to be authentic and accountable. I literally going to have to teach you.
Well, it's being polite and it's giving you the opportunity to show that you are honest. Because trust is something that has to be earned over time through demonstration. And you
so why would I lie? Because I'm starting to think that you were projecting that you're mad that I'm getting value and that you made it about me mad that others are getting value. Why would I lie about Leslie's experience with me?
I don't know who Leslie is. What I'm saying is, well, you know what I'm saying. It's obvious. You
don't know who Leslie is?
I don't believe that you want to have a neutral conversation or build to a positive one. I think that you want to attack me, which is why you are.
So you're indirectly calling me a liar again.
Well, is there truth? Because actually, thank you, Flo. I mean, Paul, is there an opportunity for a conversation? You do
there's an opportunity for any conversation we'd like.
Well, only the
who's going to set the narrative of what the first conversation is going to be about? Doesn't seem like we can get that done and then continue it.
Hey, Paul, with your attitude and the way you're presenting, you're right. It won't happen because you are continuing the patterns of the past. So if we can, what Flo offered, let's try a different way of communicating with each other. I'm willing to help in any ways I can, but if neither is
okay, so could you give me some options or tools about a different way to go about holding him accountable to his constant claims and then ceasing them in the future if there's no facts to him?
Well, how about you focus on holding yourself accountable by listening and reasoning in the moment, and you know, and we'll work together to hold each other accountable. I was thinking about this earlier. Let me toss this out there. I have a goal to try and help bring peace. And I think if you guys are both men I admire, I respect both of you. And if you guys can find a trust in me, even if you don't have a trust in each other, if you can have a trust in me that I'll be, you know, reasonable, we can help each other stay reasonable, stay focused, and stay respectable with each other.
I think the fact that we're both here demonstrates that we do trust you.
I agree. I do agree to that. So, Paul, what are your thoughts? Can we have do you think a conversation is available?
I thought that that's what we were doing. We were going over the issues and we were taking accountability where deserved and then moving forward once that process called resolution, conflict resolution supposedly, and closure was attained. I thought that's what we were doing, but I must keep getting confused.
Well, that was the opposite of my idea, which was just to go neutrally forward at least. If we talk about you or if we talk about me, we're just going to fight.
Could be, unless the purpose is to learn from each other, from each other's perspectives.
But neither of us trust each other right now.
But you do both trust the truth. And
again, I don't need to trust you to trust my discernment.
Well, Paul, this is when we rely only on our own discernment without the consideration from others, we place ourselves in.
I'm open to considerations. I'm just identifying certain patterns and themes that come up in these individual characters' lives and their attachment styles and ways of handling conflict. And I don't see it as functional or beneficial.
Here's another idea. We have in the background a definite change of subject, but one who is probably here seeking attention for sure.
Well, what else is new? Isn't that what everyone's doing here?
Well, I wonder if any conversations are available. Welcome, Olumatami.
I don't have very long. LARP church in an hour, but I'm
He's quiet.
obviously the
Yeah,
key
I'm
to
turning
all
you up.
this that you guys are trying to resolve right here, because I only said one thing in the back, and that was, Paul, I'm calling you a liar. And I can sit here as calm as the solemn wind and retain you are a liar.
Okay, without, thank you, Paul. Without jumping just to conclusions, and keep in mind, we're not here to pick sides or arguments.
I don't need
But
to trust
what are
any
you
of you
trying
because
to,
I
what are
know
you,
the
what
truth.
is, if Paul was to accept your claim that he's a liar, what would be the benefit or the purpose?
Well, the
What would
chat
be the
has already
facts
kind
you
of
can
covered
consider?
that.
Huh?
The chat's already covered that. Paul has to win, and this is what blocks him from seeing himself, from finding resolution. It's the
Everyone's
end
like
game
that.
must be. Not everyone
No.
is like that, Jack.
Okay.
If we all are like Paul, you're never going to end wars.
So far, possibly.
If we were all like Paul, we're never going to get laid either.
That's not true.
It might
I
take
know,
26 years,
there's
but we'll
lots
get
of old
there.
ladies out there that are lonely. Guys, it's simple. There's more people than just me that have watched Paul snafu their past and their details, which is plain as day an outright lie. And then when you call him out for it, he's going to say, well, my perception, according to what I see. And what he sees is blinders that refuse to see anything different.
Well, every
You know
one of
that's right, Jack.
Tom, you carry that personality, those
You
traits
carry
to a
that
varying
personality.
degree
You
as
can't
well.
prove that I
Okay.
do because I'm not denying anything. I'm correcting things.
Another
All right.
common theme I just want to point out: everyone accusing everyone else of the same behavior they're accusing each other of.
Except
Another
I got receipts
coincidental
until
common
you
theme.
privatized a year of your receipts.
Yeah,
You
I
presume that
don't
I
think
looked at that
Tom
channel as my
is a liar.
receipts rather than part of my livelihood and my experience.
I don't see it as
I'm not
your
going to speak
receipts.
if you're
I
going to
saw
talk
that.
over
Are
me.
you
There's
just
no
going to
point. I'm
talk
not going to
over
let
me?
this degenerate any more than it is with a bunch of degenerates.
I
So
see your
either you want to
first
have the
channel as
conversation
my
or you want to
receipt.
rant and go on a diatribe, in which case I'll
Oh,
stay
I
silent.
want to rant.
No, you know
Mr.
what,
Filibuster.
Tom? I'm not going to continue with that. And I agree. We shouldn't jump to, bringing an individual into some sort of narrow definition. Even the way it was presented. I believe you lied, and here's the facts versus what was said. That is the way we honestly correct each other. Calling someone a liar, you're
I want
indicating.
to jump in real quick.
Yeah.
Paul said that everybody accuses everybody of the same things over and over. I wouldn't call anybody on here. I wouldn't say that anybody on here lies. Besides the one I already have. So they might be mistaken. They may have a different perspective on things that I don't agree with, but I would not have called any of them, including Tommy, a liar.
I've jumped to that conclusion even here on the panel, and you're right. Actually, I think most people, they don't intentionally lie, but what we do is we exaggerate. Our emotions get involved. We start exaggerating, and then we build these conclusions and narratives based on what we want to believe, what we feel. And that's not honest.
I think that's different from a lie, though. Like there's getting caught up in an emotion, and then there's intentionally misrepresenting something knowingly, right? Passion can be exaggerated, but it's not the same as just an overt lie, I don't think.
Okay. So
there's a constant willful denial of truth and a preponderance of evidence, if you don't want to call it truth, in favor of the individual's ego to pad their self-worth, self-esteem, and belief about oneself. It goes on here rather regularly.
well, many people on and offline pad their egos and tell them they're greater than they are. I mean, there's Paul, look at yourself. You do a good job of presenting yourself greatly, but
maybe because I actually feel like I'm doing better than I was in my own self in my life. That's confidence, not arrogance.
Well, it is when it is related to yourself, but when you're doing it in comparison of others, that's arrogance.
Exactly.
It's not if you believe all other selves are one self or an extension of self, in which case we're all able to attain or achieve the same thing. Far from arrogance, it's attempting to promote confidence.
Well, not when you're calling people infidels and lesser than. And
that's a subjective determination.
Correct.
No,
well, and that is an arrogance. It's a subjective from your arrogance. You're exactly right, Paul.
It's a subjective determination that my will to promote confidence by pointing out a mirror to the negative, dark aspects of self is a subjective interpretation about what that intention is and what the results are.
Nobody can know anybody else's intention. We can just look at the results and the obvious patterns.
And the results
people don't try to boost confidence by tearing others.
Who do not. There's certain types of folks who do not do well with what I put forth, the way I put it forth. There are certain types who are inspired and motivated by it. So it's a subjective processing and determination.
Right. And so one could actually care about the results and how they're received. And I understand everyone is going to have their different appearance, their different opinions. But Paul, one who is confident doesn't go around putting emphasis on everyone else's weaknesses or darkness. That is not.
You're presuming that the root of it is confidence or lack thereof, rather than just good content for conversation.
See, then we're back to the character. There's no accountability because it's content and it's a character.
Again, we're on a screen and we're doing a broadcast, so we're not at a Starbucks. Paul, it might go a little bit differently. It might not.
Hey, Paul, this is the point. Without clarity,
clarity comes from within, not from without. And there's your issue. You lack discernment and presence and clarity.
Paul, let's come into this moment.
You also willfully deny explanations and new information when they're given. You also have the same pattern as the guy sitting next to you and the one below you. Is it all a coincidence?
I thought that he was confident enough to do some self-reflection here.
Right. That's what I thought too. But, and he's making.
Why does this interaction always become a 3 or 5-on-1, forcing self-reflection, intervention with Paulie Boy and the rest of the panel? Why does it always become that dynamic?
Hey, Paul, because you are unreasonable. So you made the accusation to me as you interrupted me with your egoic accusations that I lack presence. So I'd like you to witness, come into this moment with me. Matter of fact, I'd love it if you cammed up so we could actually have a real life conversation. There you go. It's good to see you, my friend. So the topic I'd love to discuss with you is what it's been the big elephant in the room. It's your arrogance, brother. In the conversations just a few moments ago, you wanted to present that it's confidence. And I've been trying to show you perspectives of your behavior that I find to demonstrate arrogance more than confidence. So can we continue that conversation?
Yes, Jack. I nodded in affirmation.
And so what are your thoughts on the conversation?
I don't have any thoughts.
Okay. Do you accept what I'm offering?
Yes, I'm listening intently. I'm present, aware, and listening intently.
Okay. What this has been offering to you, while it may have felt like it was in the past where you're getting a panel of people against you, That really is not the intention. Okay. But in this conversation, since you've been here, we talked about being able to have some self-reflection, right? And actual conversations. I've yet to see it from you. Okay. So what prevents us from understanding each other is what? What would you say?
Presence, clarity, and discernment.
Okay. And so you say that you've got presence, clarity, and discernment between, focused on the topic of you and I. What, it's my lack of clarity, presence, and discernment that is.
I don't know. You have to come
away.
to that determination. I can't make that determination.
Well, in my analysis of the facts, my memory of what we have experienced together, I'm offering you are the problem who lacks presence, clarity, and awareness of.
Would you say that's a common theme with you in life, that most of your relationships wind up with you having the same results with people and then confirming your bias that it's them who lacks the discernment and clarity and presence?
Well, if that was true, if these people that you don't know were similar to you, would that change what is real about you?
No, it would just mean that pretty much everyone in your life experience is wrong and you're the only one who's right and has the discernment.
Okay. And so what if that is not accurate? What if others are not like you? So then what does that mean to you? Because you said if others were, well, then that means I'm right. And, you know,
it would mean that while we're all.
What if it's not everyone else who's just like you? What if that's not true?
It would mean that while we all have various differences, you always seem to have the same outcome with folks, even though there's varied differences.
But see, again, I'm finding that to be a deflection from the topic. But maybe, no, I see what you're doing. You're using that as an evidence based
of a confirmation bias and a self-fulfilling prophecy. Yes.
Well, here, you know what? Welcome back, Flo.
Thank you.
And Cynthia.
Bringing in other folks who exemplify the same confirmation bias isn't exactly going to.
You were just telling him about how everybody around him does X or sees X and he gets the same results. You're getting the same results time and time again from everybody, basically everywhere, except for your
That's not true at all.
No.
Well, okay. Not at all, not in the slightest.
No.
Just an absolute conclusive wrong.
No. There's pretty much like three camps of folks when it comes to dealing with me, and pretty much folks are funneled into one camp or the other.
By facts or by you?
By the perceived perspective and processing of who and what I am and why I do what I do.
Do you think that all of your viewers or all of my, do you think that everybody sees the world in terms of for Paul or against Paul?
Good
no, not necessarily. I don't even contend that folks who present as if they're against me are really against me. I think they're against an image they have about me.
Who would you say is for you besides you?
For me?
Yeah.
I don't tend to view life that way.
Well, who's in your camp that you were talking about?
I think there's folks who support who and what I am and what I do for their own reasons, but I don't necessarily determine that objectively folks are either for me or against me, because there's obvious experiences that lead to the, perception that folks are with you till they're not, right?
Okay, but if you were going to believe there were some people who were there for you, really their intention and heart is for Paul to succeed. If you were going to imagine that there was people like that, who do you think would be? Because if
not these three folks sitting here, if that's what we're getting.
Right. So beyond these three folks, who do you think?
I'd say there's elements of that with my father. There's other subconscious elements that have shown themselves. I think that exists with Jennifer. I think that exists with Ramiro. who I'm on the land with. He's pretty much shown that day to day. I think that exists with Clayton, who has endured incarceration to not fold on me and what I do. He's shown that. So I have a list of folks in my life day to day on the ground personally who I could say are either for me or more importantly for who I am and what I do, which is really not about my personality. I think a lot of these folks don't really like me at times.
Well, I respect your honesty there, Paul, and from what I've heard, I'd probably agree. You've got some people in your corner that are there for you. And you're probably right too. They don't like everything about you.
I mean, I could bring up Leslie with the gift recently, but Flow State says I'm lying about that. So, there's a list of folks who gift rather regularly.
Is that a $3,500 gift?
It was 10, but we won't get into it.
It was $10?
No, it was 10 stacks.
Yeah, I don't believe that you got gifted 10 stacks.
And that's the thing is he doesn't understand by me even talking about that. I'm putting a target on myself.
It's already out there. I think that from my perspective, you have to provide some sort of a
right. I already have, and you said that the evidence was photoshopped and altered. So I really have no need to satiate and satisfy your curiosity.
It was photoshopped and altered. It was.
Again,
I didn't even
that was a separate interaction. You're pulling this again into the same old direction. You can't get away from it. You just keep calling me a liar and telling me what we already know to be true is not true because you can't accept the fact someone could be more successful than you on here. That's your egoic, prideful bullshit. It's not my problem.
What I don't believe is that
why would I get on here and lie and put a target on myself to draw attention to myself about things I don't want to draw attention to? It's foolishness.
Well,
you've already drawn attention.
Draw attention to others that maybe they don't want attention drawn.
Here's the thing: I don't see how a YouTuber would get tipped $10,000 and it not be some sort of a deception. I've just never heard of anybody ever getting
again because you have such a low opinion of yourself and others in the world that you don't think it's possible others could see so much value in you that they would gift you to a certain extent.
And you know what, Flo? Hold on.
That's why I messaged you privately and said to you, I think you should. Okay.
Here, Paul. I trust that he receives. I trust people are generous. I hope, and you know what?
He's got Jimmy Shively's and I don't deny that.
And people do reward when they feel they've received value. Okay, I don't believe
I agree with that.
Presenting and I do think there's probably people. Here's what I see as the downside, though, is these facts build enough little evidence for Paul, for you to think that you've made it, that you're something better than others. But these are small little drops. I mean,
are you saying that or am I saying that?
I mean, that was the point of bringing it up, I assume.
That's
Flo. When I saw that, I also took this and I just want to give you a different point of view. Like he recently had an uncle that passed away, and often when people pass away, there is inheritance left behind. Right. So I correlated that. That's just another option. If it's true or not, I don't know. But I think
he did call her Auntie Leslie, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. And then it was the uncle that passed away. No, he did call her that when he said, "Thank you, Auntie Leslie." So it wouldn't be a far-fetched for him to have received it, but embellish the story, switch the story to make himself.
You're still presuming that I'm lying in the moment. You're calling me a liar to my face and providing alternate possibilities for the lie. It's amazing.
You ask people not to cut you off, yet you do it. It's
okay.
It's
sorry, I won't cut you off while you're providing alternative narratives to how I'm lying. Sorry, I'm sorry for that.
That will change his story. Is that far-fetched to believe that he would?
So you're right. You figured it out. My aunt did it, and so we won't have any issues with anyone. She's right.
I don't. These are like side quest things, distractions from what we could accomplish. And
they're actually revelations and projections of what's eating them up inside. So again, what they projected onto me earlier is true for them, not me. I'm not mad when other people get value. They are, obviously.
Well,
you brought it up as a one-up.
Hey, I'd like to say something, Jack, if I may. You guys are fucking trying to
You
gang
asked
up
me
on
who's
Paul.
for me and who supports me. I wasn't one-upping. You asked me a question, and I was giving you answers, and I started with folks who were not motivated financially, and I ended with folks who were financially motivated to support me and who were for me. So stop twisting the narrative. We all saw it, and we were all here.
We did all see
And
it,
might
and we
I
were
add,
all here.
though, you said I'm the only one who lied. Dude, you've been caught in so many lies, and you're desperate for fucking views and clout. And Jack, you wonder why all three of you guys are here and Paul's the only one? Because you usually Nazi block and don't like other opinions. Like, I'm just being real.
All right. I don't like your opinion, Snafu, because you don't bring a lot of value. You bring a lot of accusations as though you have some sort of jurisdiction and some sort of
Authority.
authority. This is the egoic delusions. I mean, seriously, people who have very little control, very little authority, running around with all this power in their accusations and convictions. It's really not sane or healthy.
It seems like that's basically the same thing Paul does, just Paul's more articulate.
Paul is very articulate. You son of a, just another waste of adulthood. Moose. Sorry, you know what? I didn't even. All the signs tell me moose should not be allowed, and yet I don't even learn.
I know you don't.
I don't know. Paul, respectfully, I don't want this to turn into an us versus Paul panel. Not in the slightest, because I respect you and I appreciate you. I love what we bring. And today, fun. You do bring a lot of fun when you're not starting fights or when you're not being attacked.
We could move forward and just not talk about each other. And I think that would be a good basis to maybe build positive interactions out of.
Amen. Oh, good. Thank you, Donnell. I think you made the choice for me. Someone else came to the back there. Okay. How about this question? This was a question that was offered. I felt helpful from church this morning. If you were going to look at your recent path and your recent life experience, what's been weighing you down? What can you find? What would you find relief by getting away from? A burden or a challenge or a pattern, addiction? I've got my own for sure. You guys have any thoughts? What would allow you more freedom and joy in your day-to-day life?
No addictions on this panel.
More hours, more time.
Huh. Time does fly. Just, it's like, holy cows, another day is done. And then this is December. We're almost through another friggin' year already. What's 2024 going to bring us? What are we going to bring 2024?
Loops.
No. Actually, loops upon loops upon loops create pretty designs. Isn't that what the flower of life is, right? It's just looping patterns. And that's what we are.
2024 is definitely going to bring us more opportunities and chances. And so it's just being prepared for them and then noticing when they come. And some opportunities it's okay to say no to.
I've been trying to say yes more often. It's one of the things one of the coaches I worked with emphasized. Life is about yes and, right? So it's real easy to get caught into one goal, one path, one purpose.
Sounds like he was grooming you.
Well, they sold a whole bunch of programs, but I didn't go into all that. But the idea of yes and I asked a question a long time ago. I still haven't gotten clarity in my path, but I'm living it. What if you feel pulled to go in two different directions? Your heart is pulling you. And that for me is I want to help people like a coach or a mentor or whatever. And at the same time, I want to be an activist. I want boots on the ground. I want to change this damn world.
Well,
I've been failing at both. But I'm also succeeding at both. I know that because I'm not done.
I don't think that you're failing at both, Jack. I think you haven't completely tried it either.
Ooh, that's an interesting perspective.
and one that I'd agree with.
And again, it's not to say that I've succeeded. I've just completely put myself in to the point they think that I'm crazy. I mean, that's the devotee, right? That's the dedication. They'll call me an extremist and a zealot, but that's part of knowing yourself, right? You got to like throw yourself all in order to know, do you want to continue the same way, right? Or go off on another path?
Paul, it's interesting you bring that because that's exactly what I've been deliberating. Where do we throw our energy, right? How do you, what do you know to prepare for? Do you prepare for the disaster? Do you prepare for success? I want to focus on success, but
part of it is stepping into that natural entertainer, right? You know what's interesting content. You know, Talcott at the post office on the other side of things now, when he used to be in a uniform, doing what Snafu was doing, right? If nothing else, it's good content. Maybe you have a good conversation. Maybe you reorient somebody's perspective, right? Through your beingness. So, you know, Talcott at the local police station, dynamite content. You know, brothers and sisters, we're here to uphold the law. You know, what is upholding the law if your policies and codes inherently cause harm on those who don't cause harm? I mean,
that's, thank you. That is one of the things I hope to accomplish. But sorry, there was another path that I've been wondering about. And this is, you know, the spiritual devotee. This is where I started wondering today, should I go down this path? Because what if, I mean, serious, what if it's all up to me, but in order to do it, I've got to change.
What is a spiritual devotee? What's that mean?
In my mind, what I pictured is kind of what I started with earlier, but a withdrawal from everything, including a fasting and a purification.
But didn't we speak about that? And I know that I probably did it in less than a savory manner, but the orientation of the perspective again was what I know about me that others have found out about themselves. So it's not like high and mighty or highbrow to say, I'm going to give up these things and go into isolation and live within my means and do without to practice sacrifice. Mm-hmm. But again, then once you attain, presuming you attain anything, a state of beingness, you still got to bring that back to the world. And then what do you do with it? You're not practicing sacrifice and dealing with consequence and live within your means in order to cupcake and kitten. Usually the walk of a spiritual being is the other side of it is a warrior in some sense. So you're practicing the fasting and living within your means because you know the walk of a warrior is usually a jail cell or death. And you have to face death or imprisonment in order to be free. It's very paradoxical, it would seem.
That is what I've learned. It's
a Christ-like walk in a sense, right? I know that you're a sort of a fan of that story and how it overlays our beingness, and that's what I found for myself and others.
Me as well. I mean, and that is the path I'm trying to pursue. But the idea,
Talcott at the ashram, that's fucking dynamite content. You know, Talcott with Baba Wanyama at the ashram with Nityananda in the orange outfit. You know, doing a month, 28 days of fasting, prayer, whatever I mean, listen, you can't deny it. If you can get it done and if there's one locally or You could get to the Middle East or whatever. I mean, hello, I'm like guy number one for, you want to talk pay-per-view? I might have to like cough something up for that. To see Talcott at the ashram, 28 days, it's going to be hell of a time. And you're going to get something out of it, right?
I expect I would. And honestly, I mean, you reminded me there is a place I could go for that, not very far from here.
My question would be, is that moving towards goals or away from problems?
It is moving towards ideally what it would be in theory, what would happen is by going within, it would remove the blockages that I've got that have been preventing change from being experienced. Now, I've been trying the taking actions, right? Because I know there's power in that too, that you can hope and dream all you want, but if you're just going to sit around and not do anything, what's the likelihood? So I've been taking actions, but now I'm back to this. I'm wondering if this is what I got to do.
So I would, and I don't know if this applies. If it doesn't, I guess just leave it where it is. But I would think that if you're trying to retreat to resolve whatever blockage you've got, right, you're focusing on the blockage, and that would manifest more of it.
Yeah, but that's the thing, is you don't go to those places to focus on the blockage. You go to those places to create new habits and life and lifestyle in which the blockage kind of ceases to exist, right? This is the idea of a resort or a retreat. And, they invited me to one and then canceled it, but I was going to do a whole fucking bit about what are we resorting to? What are we retreating from? Right? And there will be your answer in the day-to-day life. But we go to these places to remove all the distractions and stimuli in order to take account. And then while we're there, work on certain lifestyle practices and skills so we could take that back to our day-to-day life and have a different quality of life, right? A different perspective. Does it take for everybody? Is it a one-size-fits-all? Like, it doesn't take for everybody. It seems to be a one-size-fits-all because there's only one self. But it works if you work it, right? You got to be a student of life, and you got to be really open to want to change, and you got to recognize you're not doing things the way you could be doing it. You could be more efficient, more productive, get different and better results than you're getting now. That's all life coaching is, right?
I've never been to one of these, so I don't know.
I've never been to one either, but I've experienced the walk indirectly in my own life and then look back at it and go, everything that I was practicing, that's age-old wisdom and information, has been amalgamated and remixed into modern-day life coaching sessions, where they're basically just leading you back to your truest self so you could take that back in the world and manifest different results. Most of the learning is unlearning, is what I found. You got to get rid of shit.
So what is the results that you're looking to change after you've changed whatever? You see what I'm saying? What's the ultimate thing you're trying to resolve?
More enriching and fulfilling experience and relationships, more opportunities and value presenting itself, more purpose and meaning in what you do, no matter what you do. You just kind of tend to meld into the experience rather than be in your own head. There's a myriad of reasons why somebody would seek these avenues.
But my question was more specifically at Jack than broadly.
Those are all absolutes. Those are the truth. I mean, and here's where I'm at. I do have goals to become
emperor.
Well, no, to share value. I truly hope to influence others in good ways. Okay. But, as it says, when the teacher's ready, the students will appear, and maybe I'm just not ready. So maybe this is what I need to do, is go within, and what Paul's talking about, allowing myself to detach, because detach from the old habits of consumption and interference. Because what does happen is, as we detach, as we disengage, those things just start to fade away. They still exist in the world. They're just not part of us anymore.
But to be clear, right? One doesn't go to the ashram and sit in a lotus position all day. They grow grapes. They sweep the floor. They reshingle the fucking monastery. So flow state has a point in the sense of if we recognize a pattern ourselves of procrastination and lack of motivation, ambition, and energy to achieve in the world, even if we're not of it, it's not going to work, because even the life of an enlightened man, you still have to carry water. You still have to hunt or gather or farm. You still have to build yourself a structure and maintain it, right? There's still going to be day-to-day responsibilities that have to be done and should be done in a way that reflect who and what you are as highest self, not just chores that leave you disenchanted and unfulfilled, right? And this is the robotic aspect of the day-to-day modern day living, it would seem. The depersonalization rather than practicing detachment.
So you go to a ashram retreat and they work you into the ground? That's hilarious.
Well, the thing is that these are the paradoxes of what you come to learn about self. You know, let's say you become a broadcaster, start getting value, and don't need to physically work. You find out that within that need to work comes a discipline and a value. Keeps your body in better shape, keeps you active and moving and lubricated, right? It keeps you kind of purpose driven in a sense. You know, if you start to sit around and lay around, you get stagnant. So this is what the enlightened being learns, is it's not this or that, it's this and that. And they got to work together, right? It's not mind or heart, it's mind and heart, mindful or mindless, heartful or in a sense heartless. Because sometimes you got to know what to put your most precious resource on, your time, energy, attention, and your care. You can't spread yourself too thin.
Amen.
But there's also the hands, right? Mind, heart, and hands. You have to, that's the Trinity. You got to think, feel, and behave in the same direction.
Well, yeah, it's thoughts, emotions, actions.
Makes sense. Hey,
and that was called mind, body, spirit.
Well,
all the same idea, man. Your thoughts, emotions, and actions will manifest the reality you experience, if not now, in the near future.
Yep. And that's the whole goal, is to become one with our thoughts, feelings, experience, what we are. And it's true. Before and after enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. You're going to chop wood and carry water regardless. But after enlightenment, you chop wood, carry water without the burden of worry or stress or resentment. It just gets done. And I think that's how we're supposed to live. All of us. We're just supposed to allow ourselves and each other to get things done. But
maybe you carry the resentment, but then you can specify why it's a good thing that you had the resentment that you had been having.
If the change has come, then the resentment is superfluous, right? It's more than necessary. Why would you have resentment for something that has been changed, either in actuality or perspective?
Instead by truth, I already do that work. I mean, last week, it's a busy season. I did 58 hours punch through. That would factor all my prep time I had to use. So I already do that in Stay by Truth. Hopefully this busy season ends quickly. It's annoying.
Yeah, but again, your resentment is usually found in the future or the past, right?
Yep.
One way or the other. Most of these less than desirable experiences are found when the mind is in the future and the past.
And if we get annoyed, I mean, we can get annoyed by anything. So, Hank, choose your annoyings and choose what things bring you joy. Sometimes the annoying things can become our challenge, our adventure. And then with adventures, we can have a little more fun with them.
Yeah, that's the whole plan. I'm trying to pick the annoyances that bother me the least.
That's a good start, man. I encourage you, keep going with that. Keep going with that idea and find the options that you love to do the most, especially if it's in line with your purpose and your plan. Paul, I think I tuned into your stuff earlier just for a minute, and you were offering some feedback on that, weren't you?
I think maybe I was mistaken what he was saying. I'm conflating resentment and regret. You You know, if you have regret, then that can be a guideline in a sense, right? But resentment to me kind of is a different quality. You know, there's like guilt and resentment. They seem to be found together. But the regret can be a guideline. If you regret certain things you're doing and not doing, well, then you can change that. You know, so I guess the opportune life or the most beneficial life is one that's lived to the fullest with the least amount of regrets.
That's what I was reminded from from a discussion on Marcus Aurelius earlier. The greatest regret is our unfulfilled potential. That's what we want to avoid. We do not want to leave behind our untapped potential because we were so afraid, so busy, so distracted, whatever.
And that's all my rap is really about, if you want to get down to it, you know, is that I was told all my life I was so intelligent, had so much potential. I didn't see it in myself. It took me coming on here and doing other things for people to mirror back to me that I was valuable, that I did have potential, that I did have worth. So when I get in other people's faces and I give them the black mirror, it's to point out what I see as a perceived weakness to bring us to the other side, right? Both are necessary. Do I take a little bit of joy or glee in doing it? Probably, because I grew up on the East Coast and that's how we come up, right? The dirty dozens, roasting, talking shit. I've heard I'm fat 1,000 fucking times by now. So much so, one would have to wonder, does it really not affect me, or does it affect me so much I've walled it up because I've heard it so much, you know, and am powerless to change it? But I know that's not the case, right? I vacillate at times. You know, that's all within my own power.
Oh, I heard the same thing. Say you're smart, so you're smart, but then they come around treat you like an idiot because it won't mean anything except they'll either dump more work on you or they'll forget obvious stuff and expect you to clean it up for them.
It seems to me that complimenting kids along those lines, like you are for attributes, not behaviors, right? Like you are smart, you are pretty, you are, you know, athletic. I don't know that does kids. It's just an observation. It's not really. It's a tangent, but it seems like it's.
Yeah, I think those affirmations are good to retrain the mind. The problem is you can't sniff your own product. You know, I'm never going to come out here and affirm to myself that I'm Brad Pitt. I just don't think that it. You know, and again, I'm saying that as in that's the stereotypical archetype that every woman goes to for the most physically, if not other, desirable man. Right. I may affirm to myself that I'm attractive, but then I have to look at what's the core of my attractor. Is it going to be my physical Shrek-like beingness? Probably not as a main event. It's probably going to be the mouthpiece and what's connected to that, right? The mind and heart, you know, and the experience. And I've seen that to be a theme in my life. So I accept that to be kind of, you know, God's joke or game with me. And I'm sure that there's an ability to work on oneself and become more physically attractive. And I'm sure that I have always had a lesser opinion of myself as physically attractive than others have affirmed to me. So that shows me that I have low self-esteem and self-worth when it comes to my physical beingness. So I've had to work on bringing that into alignment with what is, right? Not detract and then not expand to pretend that I'm God's gift to women. Physically, first and foremost.
But I mean, I don't think dudes' looks has ever. Cynthia, help me out here. I would guess that the most attractive part of a man to a woman is confidence.
Absolutely, and you can be too confident to the point where you're arrogant, and it makes you ugly.
But that's a lack of confidence. Would you agree, or is that? Some
people overconfidence, and that you're right, it is a lack of confidence, but they try to portray it, and that is ugly. That just is not sexy. And also, Jack, I wanted to touch back when you were talking about regrets. Like sometimes we can't change the past, but we can change the way we look at them and start to view them as a lesson and not something we should regret, and be thankful for them. And that's what I've learned along the way. So I wouldn't say I have regrets, but I would say I have lessons that I learned, and some were harder than other, but they were all valuable to me.
I think that's just what Paul was saying. using the regrets as kind of a guide for us, so we learn from the lesson and try to avoid those choices in the future.
Mhm.
And this is where I was today, deliberating even this. If I don't go online, am I going to regret? Am I going to be missing an opportunity? How do we
Yeah,
know?
but do you ever? Here's the trick, right? You regret heroin when you're on it. When you're off of it, you don't regret it because it's part of your story, right? So, have you ever gone online and then after the fact regretted it?
Yeah.
Well, again, you do run a panel, so I'll concede that one point.
Yeah.
But hey, then again, there's your guideline. Because if we can jest, because we know that if you don't do a panel, there's more responsibility and obligation on you. You got to carry it all day, every day. Right. So you may have to take on more accountability, responsibility, but at the end of it, you say, I did it mostly myself. I like where it went and I have no regrets. So that's how it's your guideline. Right. And that's what I've noticed in me. But again, I play with that because we always do grass is greener. When there's no one up here, you're a little bit like, what's up?
Right.
When everybody's up here, you're like, get me the fuck out of here.
Get out.
And you can never find a middle ground, seemingly. If you do, you touch it moment by moment, and then the rest is organized chaos at best.
That is what I've been feeling.
But if you use the past as a guide rail, right? You learn from your mistakes, then you can value that it's not a regret. Then you value the lesson.
Absolutely, it's what makes you who you are. Regret goes from something you regret to something that as a builder of character, right?
Yep. And so I think
I'm cutting in and out. We're getting doxxed.
Getting at, right? It's not about not making bad decisions. It's about your perspective on those bad decisions, what you do with them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm getting doctored famous already.
Like nobody wants to know Flow State or the White Gorilla or Jack without the addiction, right? It adds character to the story if you let it be, and the same people who, while they'll watch for that element, will judge you with it. So now what do you do with that, right? You already know what they're going to do. So it works for me because I own the position. That's my life. That's what helped make me. It didn't break me. And it's what allowed the fertile ground to cultivate faith, right? Without those dark experiences, I would have never been as faithful as a person that I am nowadays because I lack that shit,
That's where, when we make it through the darkness, when we make it through the darkness and the ignorance and the pain, we come out of it with a perspective that it's priceless. And what you're saying, the addictions, man, that was hell. That was absolute insanity and absolute hell that I was living in each day. But I wouldn't change a thing. It gave me a depth of understanding and, compassion for others who are dealing with this common stupidity that mankind has been enabling. We're here. Go ahead.
I hear you often talk about the past and your addiction. Is there ever a time that we let stuff go and just remember it no more? Or does it benefit us to reflect back on it? Or is it more beneficial to release it?
I love that question. And honestly, the way I've been living, I've intentionally let the past go. And so I seldom even remember or think about the past, except for, conversations remind. I've observed this. I know that I was in hell. I know that I was absolutely filled with anger and just all sorts of shit within myself. But you know what? I can't remember what it's like. I know that I probably could if I placed myself back into that mindset and tried. I probably could.
I just laugh because that is the experience in the sense of you could, but why would you want to?
Exactly. But that's what we do. We go through with these snapshots and anchors of a time when someone hurt us or a time when we screwed up. And then constantly we're tripping ourselves back into that uncomfortable bullshit. And that's what I used to do. Now, man, when I start thinking about the past, if I get into my head about what I've lost, what I think I've lost, or what I think I have not achieved, well, I remind myself that regret. It's exactly what you're saying. I didn't realize it, but that regret is where I would flip the script and just rewrite it. Okay, that's what was. This is what can be, meaning the success, the love, the relationships, the whatever it is. I want it all, man. I want all this life can bring. And one day, maybe I'll even be rich, wealthy.
I mean, you're already famous and or infamous.
I know.
It's only a matter of time before the rest catches up.
I know. I need to increase the value that's available. That's what I trust. That's my goal. If I can increase the value that's available, then more people will want to support.
Or you can change the perspective of where you find value. You can expand your horizons of where you find value.
Oh, I find value. I don't know.
Or where do other people find value in you? You know,
That's the question.
I think that's something that we don't.
And again, that's
myself
where
included, we don't reflect on that. We think that we know what value we want to offer, and we ignore what value we are offering.
That's an interesting observation. And it's hard to know what others are receiving because everything is subjective. And
okay, let me help you out again. 2 words: Talcott Ashram. Okay. You may not know where the value is going to be found. The rest of us do. You got to trust me on this. I am the God of all media, Jack.
But you can look at.
You can make it happen.
I mean, if you look at objectively at what, or just listen to people's feedback. Like, I get a lot of feedback that people like my panels because I maintain order. I never would have seen myself that way, really. I consider myself fairly chaotic. Like, I kind of enjoy a bit of that. Never would have seen myself as orderly. You create, I think, a good neutral ground. Like, it's not. I don't think it's a coincidence that we're here, and that this seems to be where people meet up. It's good neutral turf. You mediate well, I guess.
That's the hope. Thank you.
When you walk in who you are, in your truth, people will, like Flo was saying, people will point out what they take from that and what they value. And you don't have to necessarily focus on that. You just have to focus on being who you are and staying true to that.
The challenge is when we're consistently receiving negative feedback.
That's not negative feedback. I hope you're not connecting that statement to that.
Oh, no.
Okay.
No, EBT, this is awesome. That could be an episode, man. That could be an episode. Me yelling at people when they don't donate. They're not generous. Rat bastards.
Okay, Jack Talcott as the monkey guy at those islands when you get off the cruise ship. You put the monkey on their shoulder, you take the picture, you take it off, and then you tell them $20.
Yeah.
And then either they give it to you or a fight ensues, right? It's just great content all around. It's Talcott and a monkey. How is it not going to go well?
That's a good point, Todd. You're lucky.
There are so many possibilities available for us. But I think it'd be best to do all those possibilities after we change the world.
All right, here's where I clock out.
How much change?
I'm already on
Where are you
fire.
going, Paul? I'm coming.
Oh, are you really? Actually, you know what? Unrelated, it probably is a decent time to wrap up. Have you been
Let's end on a high note.
I'd love to. Yeah. Is this a high note or should we rave
Go ahead, end it, Jack.
You haven't thrown me out yet, so it must be.
Dude, I think it's been a success, honestly. And
It's amazing what you can get done when Snafu's not around.
Oh, of course.
He was in the back again. And you know what? That is true. If we didn't have these agents of chaos, all right, we wouldn't have the content. We wouldn't have as much entertainment. But I'm not finding a lot of downsides. I'm really not.
Yeah. So technically, me, Paul, and Flowseed are agents of chaos, but we tend to suck it all to the room. The room can't be with us in the room's just too chaotic. It can't get any more chaotic, so it looks orderly.
That could be. All right.
You have to embrace the chaos, Talcott. That's what the masters of this realm have taught us. They will create chaos, and we can find order within that manufactured chaos. If we can do that, then we're untouchable.
That's the power. Finding the patterns and the order. And the order, that's it. The order comes, it's found through the patterns. Watching for the patterns, you can find the order to the chaos. And then I think this is what you do, Paul, whether you're conscious or not, you find the pattern in the chaos and you bring the chaos to light in entertaining ways. Because I won't say you control the chaos all the time on your panel. I won't give you that.
Oh, it's not. That's the thing about chaos. It's Pandora. Once you let it out of the box, there is no controlling it. That's the fun of it. That's the practice. It's dancing in the rain versus waiting for the storm to end, right?
Yeah. Amen. This is the truth. The order comes in awareness. And it's through our awareness that's where the light is, the light of consciousness. And once we shine our light of consciousness into new ideas, new perspectives, it doesn't darken. Not as quickly. I don't know. Hey, let's wrap it up. A high note, positive, fun, and any parting words from anyone?
God of all media lives.
He does. He does.
All right, I'm out of here.
Blessings. Thank you, Paul. Appreciate you, brother.
Good show, Jack. You did really good. I'm proud of you. Proud of everything. I'm glad I got to be a part of it. Always here to support you and encourage you. Same goes for you, Flo. Good conversations last night. Oh yeah, did you watch last night's show with Aaron, Jack? I thought about clipping some of that up for you, Flo, and sending it to you.
Or even if you just have timestamps. I'm really bad in the moment about noticing when something that would make a good short or whatever happens.
Cool. There you go.
Yeah,
All
so
right.
that would actually be fantastic.
Awesome. All right, Hank, good seeing you again. As always, you are the swag king of the panel. Y'all have a wonderful evening.
Respect, sister. Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you very much.
Nice show, Jack. Nice show, panel. And I'm going to take my leave.
Thank you, brother.
Hey, good to see you.
Respect, Hank. And Flo, man, thank you. I think
What?
today was a success.
I think so too. I didn't expect it to be one, and I know that neither did EBT down there. I could see him; he kept predicting Angry Cot.
Yeah. But you know what? I want to push to you too. There's been a lot of doubt in Paul's ability to be respectful.
Yeah,
I think he did a pretty decent job today.
He did.
We got pressed, but I think things worked out well. I appreciate what you brought. Thank you.
I absolutely agree to that, and I try to give credit where credit's due.
Yes,
and he gets credit for that. So
respect. Anything you sharing?
No, I was just sitting here thinking about. I might make a stream. I might do it. I might go live for a little bit.
Cool.
Tribe is still down there, popping off.
Tribe.
I don't know why he doesn't ever pop off to me when I've also got why is he trying to pick a fight on you and I never hear a damn thing about it? He's got me on the block list. I can never see anything he says until I'm in a panel and then I can see him piping up. But he's had me blocked for like as long as he's known me. Or yeah.
Oh, blessings.
All right. Well, I'm gonna take off. I agree. High note to end on, and I'll probably do a short panel
Respect.
if anyone wants to join later.
Respect. We'll have people watch for it. Thank you, brother. Sincerely to all of those who joined the panel. It's been a while, Mr. Paul Unslaved from Proper Instruction Motivates People. It's been a little while since we've shared time again, and I respect and honor what happened today. We had some, that's what these panels are, brothers and sisters, beyond the arrogance, beyond the insecurities, beyond the name calling, the accusations. Brothers and sisters, there's a lot of good people in this world. I honestly think we've been blessed to meet a lot of great people here on the panels. And while it is metaverse and it's a separation, it's, real easy to be detached from others. I'm grateful. Brothers and sisters, sincerely, today I got exactly what I wanted. I received an open panel with Sunday fellowship. I had some fun, and sincerely, I sincerely look forward to what the future may have in store for all of us, because I know the choices I've been making. I know what I'm searching for, seeking for, praying for, working for. And it's a world that's far more peaceful, far more kind, far more generous, far more loving. Okay? A world for all of us to enjoy, to live, laugh, and love, to share perfectly and imperfectly. Let me wrap up here. Brothers and sisters, thank you again. Do the subscribe thing. Check back in again later. Watch for notifications. Brother Flow State. Maybe others will be doing stuff later. So peace to everyone. Choose love and live without fear. Thank you, and God bless.